What's up, guys? Johnny Thunder here for another excellent movie review. My Paranormal Activity review did so good, I'm going to make one each week because I see movies about a few times a week. I see a bunch of movies. This week, I happen to see Saw 6. Now, I went at midnight for the premiere because I'm a big Saw fan. I don't like how people call these movies. I'm turning my TV off. I don't like how people call these movies horror movies because they're not. They're thriller and they're mystery. And there's nothing scary about this movie unless you are scared of a lot of gore, a lot of blood, a lot of torture. If you're scared of that, then sure, it's a horror movie. But I'm not. And the theater that I was in wasn't. Nobody was screaming. It's obvious when the pig jumps out now, so really no one screams. Now, I thought this movie was a really, really good movie. I thought Saw 5 was a build-up to this, and this Saw 6 was somewhat of a build-up to 7, but in the same retrospects, it answered so many questions. Now, I'm not going to spoil, but I'm going to tell you what was answered. We find out what's in the briefcase. We find out a ton more about Jill Tuck. We find out the big grand scheme. We find out what John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, wanted to do with this whole thing and how he wanted everything to end and come together. Now, my personal theory is that in Saw 7, there's going to be another accomplice revealed to everybody. I don't think that John Kramer and Hoffman, Detective Hoffman, worked alone. I think that Detective Hoffman didn't know about this person, and I think that this person was doing this stuff way before John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, was. I think that Jigsaw kind of took over for him. They made a lot of references in this movie. There was, Jill went to the hospital with an unmarked little package and put it in someone's door. So this is telling me that she's giving something to somebody. This wasn't answered in the movie. It's not really a spoiler. She put it in the door, and it's at a hospital. So my only guess is that this is a doctor. And there's only 2 doctors in these movies, kinda. And there's Dr. Gordon, who was in the first one, who we never found a body of. And if you watch the first one, he seems like he knows what's going on. My personal theory is that Dr. Gordon was the original guy who made up all these traps and stuff for people. I don't really know the motive, but that he made all these traps and he trained John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, to do them so that he could stop, but Jigsaw put him in one of his traps to test himself. So you know that if you watch the movie Saw 1, he doesn't look too freaked out. He kind of knows what's going on. We never find a body. He's referenced to a bunch of times throughout the other movies. So there's one theory, which I think, because of this movie, is kind of proved wrong. There's another doctor in this movie, the guy who examined Jigsaw's body, the guy who did a lot of autopsy stuff for the movies. I don't know his name, but as my friend pointed out to me, minor characters in these movies become big characters. Now, these are not my words here that I'm saying. I'm not going to steal his ideas. But he says, like, Hoffman was a minor character, Amanda was a minor character, even John was a minor character. But they all exploded into these really big characters, alright? He believes that Dr. Gordon is just a trick. They're trying to trick us to think it's him, but it's actually the dude who's doing the autopsies. That's just his opinion. Could be right, could be wrong. Now, that's just my opinion for 7. Let me get back to movie number 6. I thought the traps in here were pretty sick. They, honestly, I can't explain why they're my favorites of the whole series, but they were. The first trap was kind of mediocre, but when you get into the main traps, with this one guy who's going through a bunch of stuff, it's pretty insane. And then the ending, there was a nice little twist at the end. There's part of the twist you can kind of tell at the beginning. I'm not going to spoil, you can kind of tell what it's going to be, but the main twist is kind of surprising. It's not as surprising as the other twists in the other movies, but it's pretty good. These movies are pretty much known for their gory, torture-like, and twists, like surprising endings. So if you guys go see one movie this weekend, and if you've seen the other Saw movies, I suggest that you see this. Oh, there's people yelling. Oh. I suggest you see Saw 6. If you haven't seen 4 or 5, try to watch it. Because if you just go in to see Saw 6 without seeing 4 and 5, then you're going to be so confused. You're going to be lost. You're not going to know who anybody is. A lot of recurring characters are in this movie, so I suggest you watch the other ones first. If you have, and you're thinking about not seeing this movie and going to see Paranormal Activity, don't see it. For God's sakes, don't see that movie. Because it's utter crap. Alright? So that's my review. I would give this movie about, let's say, 4 stars out of 5. Saw 7 is apparently the end of current storylines, and I believe they're making up to 9. I don't really know why they're making up to 9. I think I may stop at 7. I don't want to get into a whole new storyline because this whole stuff that's going on now is supposed to end at 3, but it kind of took off at 3. So for all the people who are wondering what to see this weekend, they've seen the Saw movies, go see them. But if you haven't seen the Saw movies, go see Where the Wild Things Are. That is a good movie. I don't know about the vampires, just it looks kind of corny, honestly. Astro Boy, I hear it's good. Well, maybe I'll do some reviews of those. I don't know if I'll see them. But that's Saw 6, people.